Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, everybody.
Joe, appreciate you being here, man.
Yes, sir.
You're the
Love
hardest
being here.
working man in crypto. I'm telling you, you are everywhere. Just everywhere. Hey, I hope everybody had a great weekend. Hopefully you were on the Crypto on the Rocks last Friday. That was a good stream. When we were done there, we went right on over to Joe's stream. Matter of fact, I stayed up for most of that stream. I thought I was going to pass out, but you had it. You were on it, man. You were on it. So hopefully everybody caught that. I hope everybody's week is starting out really well. We got some stuff for you today. We're going to have Joe be looking at the markets pretty soon, straight off the cuff here. I'll tell you what, Bitcoin, I don't know, if you ask me, ain't looking too strong right there, but we'll let Joe talk about it. I don't want to steal Joe's thunder. And we'll obviously look at the fear and greed. We're going to look at the U.S. debt clock and see what Doge has saved the U.S. at this point so far. And of course, I got a bunch of other things lined up, including Elon's talking about putting U.S. Treasury on the blockchain. We gotta talk a little bit about that, I think. So Joe, how was your weekend besides, because are you really doing a lot of trades right now? Because I mean, the market is ugh.
Well, I'm doing some trades. It's just mainly leverage. I'm just looking for little moves up and down. But one of the things that I'm always doing is I'm always looking at the charts. I'm always looking at the charts, looking for news, looking for just different projects that are coming up, and
Yep.
seeing if we can make some money. But
Yep.
that way I'm ready. So when the market does turn, when it turns, we can do some nice work because we're already prepared instead of chasing the green candles. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. Now's a good, in my opinion, now's a good time to be doing a lot of that research and getting your house in order, I guess, as they say, right?
right.
Well, let's see. Let's take a quick look and see before we get into everything this morning. Let's take a look real quick and see who's here. Username with the rib chat and the trading helmet. Yes. Make sure you guys subscribing to Joe's channel if you don't already. Link is in the description, and you can go use that trading helmet if you have if you are a member on YouTube there. So yes, trading helmet. Chris Hanley in the house. Appreciate you being here, Chris. And yes, Dave P in the house saying yes, hardest working. Yes, see, told you. Joe is the man. Joe is the man. Automatic Beats. Appreciate you being here as always. Jeffrey in the house. Good morning. Good morning. Appreciate you being here. And yeah, why don't we just take a quick look at that fear and greed index, Joe, and see where we go from there. What do you think?
Sounds good to me. I will say though,
oh yeah,
I will say that I absolutely look forward to Mondays. Because now, well, of course, it's you, but now is because we have that Doge meter per se, and I'm really interested to know. It's exciting, how much are we saving? But all right, sorry about that.
Yeah, and frankly, that's important if you ask me. It just is. We need to start saving some money. And yes, exactly. A bingo and a bango. Absolutely. Absolutely. Look at this dynamic duo. I love it. Username. You're the man. You're the man. Oh shit. My F. Yes, exactly. All right. Let's I know, right? I know. All right, here we go. Fear and greed index. I mean, honestly, I'm impressed it's this high. I don't know, Joe. What do you think, man? Look at this coming in with obviously greed. Greed. Listen to me. That's little hopium right there. So some fear. But I don't know, the way things are looking so weak. I kind of would have, in my opinion, expected it to be a little bit lower than this.
Oh yeah, same here. I mean, it's not looking strong, and we're trying our absolute best to look for all the possible upsides, but it's very hard to find them. The downsides, man, we can list them, like we have a whole list. But the plus is like, well, we're looking for this and this. The downside is just, well, this and this, and it's looking bad. And I really want to. I would love to be I would love to be at least like 52, 53, and that's with the price going up. I don't want to be in full greed because then that's when it starts selling.
Yeah. Craziness. Yes, I understand. Well, like I said, we'll see. We'll see. The markets, again, in my opinion, looking mighty weak. But are you ready to talk a little bit about Bitcoin right now? We'll throw your chart up there and we'll let you take it away. And then, like I said,
definitely.
after he's done, we'll look at the fear and we'll look at the fear and greed. Oh my God, what is wrong with me this morning? We're gonna take a look at the debt clock and that Doge because I want to see where we are with that. All right, Joe, you're the man. Here you go. Take it away.
Awesome. When I was trying to switch screens, I actually had my finger on my trade that I'm doing, and I just went and I closed it. I just closed it right now. I was like, oh no, I didn't want to do that. So I just reopened it. Hopefully it's still a good position. But in reference to Bitcoin, and y'all can see my chart, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So in reference to Bitcoin, we've been looking at this, and we had this drop down here. I'm looking on the 1 hour time frame. I really like looking at Bitcoin on the 1 hour time frame. It tends to be the sweet spot for me. In the chat, let me know what sweet spot you look at to just kind of see the momentum of the trade. Now, these blue lines, these are my anchored VWAPs, and I have my fib retracement tool as well. And what I'm doing is I'm pretty much just looking to see where the price may retrace to. Now, it has come all the way down to the golden pocket, which is the 0.5618. That's the yellow lines. Came all the way down here, started trading in this range. Then it broke below, and breaking our POC, point of control. That's way over here. And this also measures volume along with my VWAP. And they measure it differently, though. But the main thing that I'm looking for is I'm looking for price action to remain above my red line. Came down, came up, starting to break this level. And what we want to see in order for it to be bullish is we want to see a bullish retest or a bounce pretty much in this area, whether it's exactly on this line or maybe on this 0.5 from the fib retracement at 97.051. We want to see a bounce here. And the price did break above, which is good. Started having some resistance on my anchored VWAP. I have several of them. Here's my anchored VWAP. Started coming down, breaking above. So here I was kind of worried. It's like, oh man, is it going to roll over? Well, it ended up coming down and then breaking through the level and then coming back down. So this to me is pretty much a decision point. Now, I love the fib retracement tool. And what I'm actually going to do, make sure my mag tool is on, I'm going to go from the absolute swing low, which includes the wick, to the absolute swing high. And this would put, let me go ahead and hide this one for now. There we go. So that would put this pullback right to the 382. I love when the price comes to the 38% mark for a retrace and then potentially goes up. So here, to me, in my opinion, this is my decision point. This is one of them. I want to see the price do this. From here, come up, break this level, then find support on the level, then continue up. This is one of my thought process. Another thought process would be, it would be okay if it retraces. I don't want to see it coming down here because it's going to break below my other anchored VWAP. I would like the price action to come to about here, the 0.5 level, then come up. So once again, I don't want to see it come in here because now if it does, it's under my VWAP. Now, I'm not sure if y'all can see. Let's see here. Let's see here. Can y'all see this? No, you can't. Okay, not a problem. I'm going to copy it and paste it. So 1 second. Now, this is one thing that I show on my channel pretty frequently, but it's this information right here. And I would strongly recommend everybody screenshot this because you have to know what your tools do. If you don't know what your tools do or what they're for or how to properly use them, you're going to have them on your charts so you can look smart, like your mentor or somebody you're watching, but you're not going to know what they're for. Here, I break it down for you in this little chart where we have the VWAP, and you can just use the regular VWAP. I use sometimes both the VWAP and the anchored VWAP. The only difference is the anchored VWAP, it allows me to set a point that I want to see the volume. Now, there's a lot of different volumes, like on the chart, there's a volume on the bottom, but that is time base. So if your 4-hour candle, because you're on the 4-hour chart, if it goes up and your volume goes up, well, then the volume is based off of the time, the 4 hours. These are not based off of time. They're based off of a range of volume that happened on the chart. So instead of, like, if you're looking at a graph, instead of looking at this axis, you're looking at this. So that's pretty much what it is. Now for the VWAP, it is the volume weighted average price. I love this. What does this mean? It is like a moving average, but for volume. Simple terms, if the price is above that line, it's bullish or it's good. If it's below the line, it's not so good or bearish. Now, the line itself is not a level of support resistance like a trend line or support and resistance level is, because it's dynamic. It's very fluid. So it moves along with the price. Price can come up to it, but since it's the average, the price may stop at that level and come down. This is why I'm always looking for either a rejection or a bounce above and a retest. But it's very important, don't treat it as a solid, level, because it's not. It's a form of support resistance, but it's not a support resistance level, if that kind of makes sense.
That makes perfect sense.
I also have here, thank you. I also have this here, the fixed range volume profile. This gives you the volume based off of wherever you're looking at, and you adjust it. So the red line, that's the point of control, and that's where the majority of the volume happen. What's volume? We keep on saying volume. Volume is the amount of sells and buys. This is really important. So if you understand what volume is, and you understand how to use tools that use volume, well, then now you have a little bit of more of an edge when it comes to trading. You know where there might be support or where there was more volume. And not only that, but this is like an area of interest. If you're way down here, more than likely, we're going to go where the average is at. And so that's one thing I'm always looking at. I'm looking at not only the price action, but I'm looking at the momentum. I'm looking at the strength. And these volume indicators, they help with that. All right. That's all I got. But yeah, in reference to Bitcoin, these are the two things that I'm looking at. I really don't want it to break underneath this. So to just kind of better understand why I don't want it to break below this and why I don't want it to go into the golden pocket is for the reason that I just explained in reference to the VWAP. Because now you're closing underneath the average of the volume. I want it to bounce up here. So that's what I got. Any questions?
Well, I actually do have a question. With regard to the VWAP, is that something that you would suggest or recommend for someone who is newer to trading in cryptocurrency to help them along and kind of learn, or somebody who's got let's say some time under their belt?
Right. So for a brand new person coming in, I would strongly recommend support resistance. For more information on how to do that, make sure to check out my channel. Go live several times a day. But for simplicity's sake, you want to go to a higher time frame and then use your magnet tool and then the ray tool, and it will draw, or horizontal ray, and it'll draw these white lines or these lines. And this is where there should be a potential area of resistance. Well, these are actually key levels the higher time frame you go. Now, everything else that we use on top of that, it's just going to help determine our thought process if the price is going to possibly continue going up or down. But this one, I would definitely put this in your tool chest. especially if you're a new trader as well, just so it can give you the visualization of momentum. Is it strong or is it weak? So I believe this will help tremendously. Same thing with moving averages too. But you just have to know what the tool is used for. That way, when you see it and the price is above or below whatever indicator you're using or tool you're using, you know what it represents.
And I'm going to guess that it's probably better for somebody who's new to master whatever the first level is, the first tool they're using, and then potentially add another tool to the gun there, another bullet in the gun, if you would.
Yes, 100%. And that's what the most new traders, when they come in, they see somebody who's already seasoned and they may have 13 indicators on their chart, and they want to replicate it because, well, that person might be, or more than likely, successful. So they want to replicate, and they have 13 things, but they don't know why. And I used to remember, because I love helping beginners. I love it. And I was in a group that had a beginners group in there, and they would post all these charts, and they would have an indicator, but that indicator is pretty much to see for divergence. And I would say, do you see any divergence? And they're like, I don't think so. So of course I pointed out to them, and I say, now that you have this indicator, if you didn't have this indicator on your chart, I wouldn't be looking for divergence. But since you have the indicator on the chart, the main reason for the indicator, again, you need to know what the tools are for, is to look for divergence. So if you have this indicator, look for divergence. But yes, to your point, learn one thing. For me, I don't do patterns, but if you do, great. If you're making money, great. Learn patterns and learn it well. Learn divergence and learn it well. The very first thing that I recommend everybody start with, which is the foundation, support, resistance.
Support and resistance.
You need to know that. Then once you get that down, then you can do trend lines, and then you can do divergence, because it's literally support, resistance, trend lines. Now that you know how to do trend lines, now you can find divergence. Then after divergence, now you can go to the other stuff, the moving averages, the VWAPs, but it all builds on top of that foundation. If you don't have a solid foundation, anything you build crumbles.
Agreed. Guys, you just got a master class right there for free right here, first thing on a Monday morning. And Joe, I know exactly what you're saying. I remember when you and I have talked about this, following somebody who's been trading for like ever. He's definitely successful, no argument about it. But like, he's talking about this indicator or that indicator, and that was just like over my head, because I wasn't at that point yet.
And especially when they don't explain what it is. So for me, I always had the beginner mindset. If I ever show you something, I show you how to use it, why I'm using it. Just because I might get another person in the live stream who's brand new, and I want to make sure that, here's the thing. I'm not sure if this ever happened to you, but if you're learning something and then something confuses you and you're still trying to learn more stuff, your brain's not looking at this more stuff. Your brain is like, why does that not work? And then now you're trying to figure. So you're hearing information, you're seeing information, but your brain is like trying to figure that last problem out, and you're missing all this new stuff. So what I do is I make sure that everything is laid out perfectly, because again, I had the beginner mindset that if I missed anything, it's very rare. And then I always encourage my people, if I say something that doesn't make sense or whatever, let me know. That way, because there are no dumb questions. There's either questions we've had before or haven't thought of yet. There are no dumb questions. And for me, I love questions.
Well, and it gives you an opportunity, because again, to help someone, because they're coming in at a different place, that you don't know. We put information out here. I mean, just like today, right now, we're putting information out here that, okay, if you're in the space for a while, it all makes sense. It clicks in here or there. But if you're new, it's like, what? like you said, I'm with you. That's exactly what happens to me when I'm trying to learn something and all of a sudden something didn't make sense. It's like a roadblock.
Right.
It just
100%.
stops you cold from learning any of that other stuff, because the minute you try, it's like you're reverting back to, but wait a minute.
Right. Because your brain's confused and like you're hearing and you're seeing, but you're still, why did that? Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, and especially if they're what they're now teaching is trying to build on that first concept, then you're completely like, forget about it, man. Just forget about it. And listen, as always, the link to Joe's channel is in the description of this live stream, but I did just put it in the live chat again. So make sure, and on all channels. So whether you're watching on X, whether you're watching on Facebook, doesn't matter. The link to follow Joe is there. Make sure you're doing that, because if you are even remotely interested in trading, hell, even if you're just interested, because a lot of times I know Joe specifically tries to focus on trading, but sometimes if you ask him, especially, he will like, okay, I'm looking at DCA at this point. What do you think, Joe? Now a good time, and he'll do that for you. So, unlike me, who's listen, you DCA, but this is the amount. This is every week. I do it at a specific time. If you're trying to catch a good buy opportunity, Joe can help you too. He can still help you. So again, link in the description, link in the live chat. Make sure that you are following Joe if you are not already. Appreciate all of that. Joe,
Yes,
that was great. That was awesome, man. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. So we've got a couple of things coming up just to kind of recap in case people are because I can see a few people just jumped in. So just to kind of recap where we are, Joe obviously just went over Bitcoin, and it is what it is here at this point. With regard to that, we're going to be looking at the debt clock and Doge on the debt clock there shortly. We're going to talk about putting, and matter of fact, there is a poll when you come on into this live stream. Make sure you answer that. I'd appreciate, I want to see what that is. I got a feeling we're going to have just about 100% thumbs up for putting U.S. budget information on the blockchain. I'm going to guess. That's just my guess. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the current levels of legislation that are coming through Congress, and Bitcoin ATMs, and of course, how much money you could have if instead of buying a Super Bowl ticket, you put it into Bitcoin. So I'm excited to throw that out there, even with Bitcoin being a little weak right now. I mean, think about it. All the way back from the inception of Bitcoin, when it was, pennies to even a couple of $100, here we are in the $90,000 range. So, all right, Joe, I'm going to ask, I got to ask every time, have you taken your medication?
Yes. But
okay.
I think I might start having to reduce my medication if the Doge keeps on doing its thing. That's what I'm saying.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Sin is in the house. Hey, welcome. Appreciate you being here. All right. Let's pull up now. Normally we pull this up on a weekly basis because Joe and I are usually here on a weekly basis. Last week I was traveling, so we just couldn't do it. But I am about to pull up is 2 weeks ago. So everybody's aware, 2 weeks ago. So that you can gauge where we are with the numbers, right? Makes sense. I got to pull up the right sheet. There it is. I got to pull the right one up first. Let me make this full screen so everybody can see where we were 2 weeks ago. So let's start with the debt. 2 weeks ago, the debt was $36,404 billion. Okay, a hefty number going on right there. And let's look at Doge, because I'm going to pull this off the screen so we can bring up the current clock. Doge was at 26,319 million. Now, just to point out, at the time of this particular video, Doge had been in place for like, what was it, Joe? A week, 10 days tops at that point?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that there was that much savings already in that short amount of time is just kind of mind-boggling to me. It
Mm-hmm.
just is. All right. Now that we saw those numbers, let's take a look at where we are right now. Here is the latest numbers running live for you. So let's start with the debt as always. 36,462 billion. So what is that? That's about $58 billion. So break that in half. About what? 28 billion, 29 billion dollars per week. Which I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but I think that's kind of seems to be slowing down a little bit on a
I
weekly
believe
basis.
so.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's still going up, everybody. I get it. But, you know, at a slower rate, I'm good with that one going up at a slower rate. But here we go. Look at this Doge clock right now. 79 billion, 158 million. That is what? Like $51 billion in savings in 2 weeks. Holy
Crazy.
cow. Holy cow. Well, no, 2 weeks because it was the last one was 2 weeks. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and what does that break down to?
Crazy. Super crazy.
Yeah. I mean, again, I realize that governments are not the most efficient animals on the planet, but to see this kind of increase is just insane to me. How inefficient really was our government, because this is what they're finding, and you gotta believe that they're not necessarily finding everything, right? So I mean, that's crazy, absolutely crazy if you ask me.
Yeah, I saw a video, YouTube short, and this is something that we all know, but it never gets addressed. One of the guys, he held up a bag of like screws or something, and he's like, "How much does this cost?" And the dude's like, "Well," and when it's $70,000 for like maybe $50 worth of
Oh,
material,
yeah.
and it's like the government is spending $70,000 on this when it only costs $50. Like, why? Where's the money? Like, literally, where's the money going? And
Yep.
like, we all knew this. We all know that, for a staple, it costs like $5 when it's part of the packet.
Yeah.
And this is what Doge is doing. But
Yep.
hopefully, like I said, like this is something that we needed. And it's so funny that all these people who are screaming from the top of their lungs that
I was just gonna
why is even Elon doing this? He shouldn't be. Nobody appointed him. But notice the people who are screaming the loudest, they're the ones that have the most to lose, because they are the ones that are frauding the taxpayers.
Yeah, exactly. They're on the take. I don't care what they say, how they try to play it off. And that's why they don't
They're
want this stuff to
scared.
come out. They don't want this stuff to come out.
Man, they are
Because
scared.
yeah, the gravy train is coming to an end. And listen, I could care less who was putting this information out. Elon is just the guy that was taxed with doing it. He was the guy that was hit on, and Trump said, "Yo, go take care of this." It could be anybody.
Right.
If they're being honest about it and they're putting it out there, they're just the messenger. You can't hate on the messenger. Well, in life, a lot of people hate on the messenger, but
And I've
you
seen
shouldn't
so
be
many
hating on the
posts.
messenger.
Yeah, I've seen so many posts where they're saying, if a different scenario, because once you have a bias that you don't like somebody, then you're going to, no matter what you hear, no matter what you see, no matter
Right.
anything,
It's
you're
like that.
still not, you're going to find a reason why not to like it. Oh, I don't like his respiration rate. It's too fast. There's something wrong with him. He's doing, something. They're going to look for something. And it's so funny because I saw a post where it says, if you found out that your bank that you've been with for years was actually stealing money from you, more than we already know they steal from us.
Right.
But if they were
Right.
stealing more money than you anticipated, and then you go and you check the books, the actual books, and you see that they're taking out and you're suffering, but they're gaining from it.
Yep.
Who would you be mad at? The one who found the additional taking of money, or the bank?
Right.
Well, you would be mad at the bank. You wouldn't be mad at the person who said, "Hey, man, they're
I
stealing from
found
you."
this. Yeah.
Right, right.
It's absolutely insane to me that, I mean, and you hit it on the head. Don't be mad at the messenger. Be mad at your government who is stealing from you. And the majority of the people that we have watching right now are from the US. So like, this should piss you off, man. It should piss you off. It just should.
Yep.
And to that end,
And it's,
let's go. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Joe.
I was just gonna say, and it's crazy that we had to get businessmen to run the government as a business versus just, you know what, let's print out some money. Let's give you 250,000 or 25,000 for every new home. Like new home buyers.
Yes.
You want money. Like, well, let's just do all that. It's crazy.
It's like that.
You need to know business.
Yeah. It's insane. It's insane that, and again, in my opinion, it's just the tip of the proverbial iceberg. We're gonna, I think we're gonna be very upset when we see more and the rest that comes out. And now Elon was the first person to say that this stuff, the government information, budgets, etc., should be on the blockchain. He was the first one that said that. And now I happen to bring up this particular article because he basically was backed up by Brian Armstrong from Coinbase saying the same thing. And okay, I'm thinking he's kind of touting on that because he wants to somehow be involved in that, where that information gets put and whatever. I'm not. Well, I guess I might be to some degree worried about where it gets put, like what blockchain. Well, again, I lie. I am. There are some blockchains I would not want to see that information put on. But for the most part, as a matter of fact, if you have a specific blockchain in mind, put it in the chat. I'll be interested. Honestly, that was going to be my poll question. What chain did you want to see this information put on? But I figured that was assuming you all wanted to see it on the blockchain. So I started with the base question. Maybe we'll do that other one next week. So let's we'll hold on to that. But put it in the chat. Feel free. I'm interested to see. Joe, if you had a choice on the blockchain, like what blockchain?
Solana.
What is it? Oh,
Solana.
Are you listen? I don't have blood pressure med.
I knew as soon as you're like, well, there's one that I know I don't want it to be, like Solana.
Exactly.
But I'd have to think hard on that one. But just based off of I do like Solana. It's fast, but it goes down too much. Like there's times where I'm trying to transfer my money to get these, AI meme coins on DEXs and like the network's down. It was like, okay, again. So now it's not even like I'm mad or it's like panicking because like, man, I need to get this coin. Not FOMO, but because I want to get the coin. And then now it's like, oh, it happened again. Okay, gotta wait. It's gotten to that point already.
And I think that we have enough good blockchains in the space.
Heck yeah.
That you could definitely do it. And hell, to think about it, Joe, maybe we put it on more than one. You can get coins and tokens on more than one blockchain now. So why not budget information?
Right.
I honestly, until this second, I hadn't even thought about that, but that kind of makes sense to me. Versus, one takes them all. But yeah, definitely that one to avoid there. Yeah.
And you do Solana. That's the one. Solana.
Oh man, sometimes you just gotta laugh. All right, let's keep going here. Now, last week we talked about Trump. Not last week, the week before. Sorry. We talked about the executive order that Trump put out and putting together the working group, and we talked about David Sachs, who is the crypto czar here in the U.S. And again, I know very little about this guy. I'm trying to do my due diligence and learning more, but he has been out there and really, in my opinion, doing a good job trying to talk up and about the cryptocurrency space. Now, in a recent interview, and I just want to bring this up. Let me scroll down, see if I can find it really quick while I'm, whoops, I went by it. See, while I went by it right here. He put out in a recent interview, a podcast he did, that I think there's a pretty good chance that we can get this done in the next 6 months. That is bullish to me. And he's referring to, you know,
bullish.
Yeah, he's referring to getting some framework in there and that kind of thing. And I mean, do you really think, Joe? I mean, what's your opinion? Do you really think that they can pull that off in 6 months? Our government is not efficient. We've seen that with Doge. So
right, but they can get, just like how Elon did, find people who are very, very smart, and they don't have to be in the government already. They can be like straight out of school, or you know, any kind of like special programs. They do like a little test, and if they pass that test, then it's like, okay, let's put you into this thing, because there's a lot of crazy smart people who know about computers and about coding and everything. And so just, you know, ask them, you know, what, and then why, you know, not just tell me what, but tell me the whys. Like, why should we pick this one versus this one?
No, you hit the nail on the head. The why is important. The why is important.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that's the other piece too. In order to get some of this framework and laws, regulations, etc., and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a second, you need to do a lot of education to these lawmakers, because they need to, I don't want to say fully understand, but they need to have a good working knowledge, in my opinion, about the space. Otherwise, how do you make good decisions about the space if you got nothing more than a cursory understanding, you know, like, oh, Bitcoin, Silk Road, blah. You know what I mean? That's just no longer the case. It's no longer the case. I mean, and that's something, matter of fact, tomorrow night, 6 p.m., Matrix Money Podcast, Daniel Diaz. It's something that he's talked about as he tries to educate lawmakers, again, more about gold and so on and so forth. But he has to get that base level of knowledge first. And Perry Ann from the Digital Chamber of Commerce in DC, doing a lot of work with these lawmakers, doing the same thing, base level education. I think that is hugely important. Hugely important. I mean, you want to throw anything else on top of that there, Joe?
It's basically how I teach. You know, if you don't have a solid base or foundation, like, because if they came out with, you know, all these big words and just, you know, terminology and different projects, they're going to be confused. They're going to be like, and they might say no because they just don't understand it. Yes. But if they do the very basic and just like get their foot in the door, and then we can add to it, then okay, like I see what you're doing, I understand it. Yes, I do think that this additional project or whatever is going to be beneficial and a great add-on. Well, now they get it. So yeah.
Yes. And just for the way they write the legislation, you know, to the point, like when Elizabeth Warren, what was it, about a year ago now, I guess, did her anti-crypto legislation. The Banking Association at the time wrote that. And what did they do? They basically were trying to backdoor ban crypto here in the US because of the way things were worded. And so it's very important to have proper wording for the space as a whole, because this, again, it's more than just Bitcoin in the space. It is. It's more than just Bitcoin. To that end, let's take, and speaking of education, we're going straight to Joe's live stream after this. So you don't even have to do anything. Just kind of hang tight. Let us sit here and try and fill you with some great information. And then YouTube will take you right over there. We're going to get some more info from Joe. But in the meantime, let's go take a look at this little blurb. And it is just a little blurb, but I think it's important to touch on. This was put out by Binance. Again, quick little blurb. And Binance is what it is. Biggest in the space as far as exchanges go. U.S. senators reintroduce a bill to ban a federal digital currency. And it goes into right here that Senator Mike Lee, great. He's one of those guys in Congress who gets it. He gets it. He reintroduced his No CBDC Act. And again, I know this was something that we've discussed on a couple of different live streams with regard to, okay, you got Trump who's putting out no CBDCs in his executive order, and that's great. But much like everything else in the executive orders, unless it's in law, there's nothing stopping the next president from coming in and just wiping that out of the way. So the fact that Mike Lee has reintroduced this bill to me is huge. And honestly, I can't see how anyone in Congress would be opposed to not banning a CBDC here in the United States. It is completely antithetical to what this country was founded on and stands for. And okay, I'm on my soapbox. I'll get off my soapbox. But I mean, it only makes sense. Now, I'm not trying to get into the discussion at this point anyway, maybe a later live stream, but how some CBDCs, how some stable coins could potentially be kind of like a backdoor CBDC. We'll get to that on another stream. But the fact of the matter is to make sure that there is no direct CBDC being developed by the Fed, I think is humongous, and again, needs to be entrenched in law. Joe, what do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And until, like you said, until they put it in law, it doesn't hold weight. So.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong, the EOs are great. They pushing, in my opinion, the country in the right direction, to kind of, even to some degree, showing lawmakers where the country should be headed.
Right.
All good with that. But yeah, we are a country of laws at the end of the day. And unless that's in the law, yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. I agree. All right. A couple more things we're going to go over. And like I said, we're going to be heading over to Joe. I guess I got to step it up a little bit here. We're only got 15 minutes left. We're sitting here just shooting the crap. Now this is something I'm going to bring this up, and I saw this and I just thought this would be perfect to add to the stream today. This happened to be an article right here which was in the form of a question. Are Bitcoin ATMs becoming more popular in 2025? But this was something that I mentioned last Tuesday on Matrix Money Podcast. Actually, Jar and I talked it out. He gave us what he's seeing in Canada. I talked about what I'm seeing in my neck of the woods. And one of the things I talked about, and Joe, I'll be interested to see how your neck of the woods fares with this. One of the things that I was saying I'm seeing now, remember, I'm in the New England area, and I do mean that as a whole because I do a lot of traveling all over the place in New England. And I am seeing more and more Bitcoin ATMs in all kinds of places, not just like the bigger stores, the supermarkets that are here definitely all have crypto ATM machines now. The bigger thing like Walmart, even a couple of those with Bitcoin ATMs, and that's all great. But what I've seen as a growing trend in this area is that these smaller stores, these convenience stores, these just like, there was this teeny, and I said this on the Matrix Money Podcast, there was this teeny store I drove by, like little convenience store, small town. You could blink and just miss the place, and big sign right outside their store basically saying, buy your Bitcoin here. Like, hello? That's not what I would have expected from that particular kind of store. Is that a trend that you're seeing in your neck of the woods, Joe?
Well, I really haven't seen it too much. I live in a very, very small town, very small. But I've been, when I was in San Antonio, but it was like 2 or 3 years ago already, if not a little bit longer, about 2 years, 3. But there they started doing the Bitcoin ATMs. So, even back then I was seeing them. But here in this really small town, I mean, I'm pretty sure I went to the next town over. It's much larger. I would see some, but here,
You'd see some.
I mean, it's too small.
Okay, fair enough. Like I said, the fact that it was one of those, blink and you missed it towns, like the only
Right.
convenience store in the town had this sign there, and I was just like, what?
But
To
I love
me,
it though,
yeah, positive
because
sign.
now, like, even if you didn't know anything about crypto, or if you didn't have a TV, because, well, all the politicians talking about crypto, Bitcoin,
Right.
stock market people, same thing. But I mean, if you were just go to the convenience store, like, you see the big old B on the thing that says Bitcoin, it's like, well, what is a Bitcoin? Like,
What's
what is
that?
this?
Yeah.
Yeah, is
Yep.
it? Yeah. So I mean, it's good. It's bringing awareness, and it's making it more normalized versus, oh, this is crypto. Are you trying to buy some DRUGS? What's going on here? It's like, no, just trying to invest
Nope.
my life,
Yeah.
because that's all they think
Exactly.
about it. It's that, Silk Road and everything else. Is like, no, it's, for the future.
Now, one of the things I also mentioned on Matrix Money podcast last week when we were talking about this was, I don't know. I wouldn't be going to an ATM. Again, I'm in the space, so I get it. I have a different perspective, but I don't know. That wouldn't be the first place I was going to, like, get Bitcoin or whatever. And somebody in the chat mentioned, like, well, it's a certain age of people, because he was mentioning boomers in particular being maybe more willing to use a Bitcoin ATM machine. And then it kind of clicked to me, like, okay, for the most part, people in the United States since the 80s have been familiarized with using ATM machines. When they first,
Right.
I think that's about when they first rolled out in the 80s. So I guess, yeah, to some degree, maybe any people looking to invest in crypto at a certain age, yeah, right here, looking at this guy right here, but
Yeah.
be potentially more inclined, I guess, to do something familiar like a Bitcoin ATM. Any thoughts about that, Joe?
No, I'm right there with you. When it comes to all that, I would also like to add that when the start of all this, and I say this a few times, or I've said it a few times,
Mm-hmm.
when the whole start of Bitcoin, I mean, even with me, when I heard about Bitcoin long time ago, I thought it was bad. I didn't look into
Yep.
it. I didn't
Yep.
investigate. I just automatically, nope. And now, even people who are saying no, but more than likely now, the more that they're hearing about it, the more that they're seeing it on TV and from reputable people. It's not your drunk uncle or your, in your aunt that has dementia who's telling you about Bitcoin. You're seeing it from reputable people on TV, on the news, from the stock market to whatever. You're seeing it over. It's like, maybe I should. So maybe I should look into Bitcoin. And then when your friend tells you about crypto, now they may start, yeah, go ahead and tell me about it. Versus, nope, that's for illegal stuff. So,
Yep. Right. Yeah. You start asking the question, okay, what do you know about it?
right.
And it's like anything else. You can come to, and I hope that the people, and well, I know the people listening here, but maybe the people listening to this on the replay, go to more than one influencer, more than one source to get Bitcoin and cryptocurrency information, because let's be honest, everybody thinks about it differently. Everybody has a different way of explaining it. And it might be just that one way that somebody explains it, and that one person that just you click with and you understand what they're talking about, and it makes it all make sense. And
Right.
so you need to make sure you're doing that. 100 Air is in the house.
100
Welcome,
Air.
100 Air. Appreciate you being here, my friend. 100 Air has been joining us on Crypto on the Rocks every Friday night, 7 p.m. And go catch some of the clips I did. He talked about an 18-year cycle. You need to go check that out if you didn't already do that. So I think at the end of the day, just to wrap up this Bitcoin ATM thing, I think it's a good addition to the space, even if
100%.
antiquated, but for the reasons that Joe highlighted, it helps to get that exposure. It helps to do with the adoption. It helps to get all of that together. All right. We're almost done. We got about 10 minutes, and we're going to definitely be wrapping up because, again, heading straight over to Joe. We're going to be going and raid his live stream here in about 10 minutes. But before we do that, obviously, we had the Super Bowl yesterday. Now, Joe, did you end up watching the Super Bowl at all yesterday?
Yes, I actually stopped doing my crypto stuff and I watched the game. Now, granted,
Wow.
I did take about 10 breaks, just really quick to come back to the office to check the stuff and then go back.
Sure.
But yes, I did watch it.
Awesome. Did you have any dog in the fight? Were you betting on anybody in that game?
Yes, my cousin, we did a gentleman's bet. And for those that don't know what that is, that's when we bet $1. $1. Gentleman's bet. And let's just say I won the dollar.
All right.
Hey,
now you got $15.
There you go. I love it.
Yes. I'm going to have to let Shuby know that so he can do you a new plaque instead of $14. You need a $15 one now. Oh man. Anyway, well, I didn't really watch the game. I don't know. I'm a more local team guy. If like the Patriots had been in it, then maybe I would have watched it because, again, New England guy here. But yeah, I didn't watch much of it. I was looking around trying to catch like the halftime show. I was trying to catch some of the commercials, that kind of thing. And I was specifically looking to see if there were going to be any crypto commercials, because if you remember, we had before FTX was like all about being in there back in the day before they collapsed and all that kind of stuff. And as far as I can see, there were no crypto commercials, which kind of surprised me a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
what
so
about you, Joe?
I was actually watching it on Tubi, and so I don't know if Tubi had the same commercials as the Fox channel.
Oh,
but I didn't see any commercials with crypto, and I was really surprised. I was actually disappointed. So
yeah, no, me too. I would have thought something even Coinbase or crypto.com,
especially Coinbase.
Yeah,
especially then. All that money they got. Didn't they say that Elon Musk was going to do a commercial in reference to showing all the spending that the USAID did? I thought I heard that, but I didn't see it.
Hear that,
and I haven't checked Twitter yet. I'm gonna check Twitter probably later on today, just for Super Bowl commercials and everything else. But that's what I heard on. I don't remember if I heard on Twitter or YouTube channel, but they were saying that it's like, oh man, that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
the whole world, pretty much is looking at Super Bowl, and let's see if, like, in case you're under a rock and you don't realize that what the government's been doing to us. Well, here you go. So.
Here it is. Bam. I didn't hear that, but I did do a cursory search this morning for the crypto commercials just to make sure I didn't miss something, and nothing showed up. So I'm thinking to myself, I didn't really miss anything, because again, I wasn't like I sat there and watched the entire game. It was kind of trying strategically, because it is what it is. But for those people who like to go to all the, and I know a few people that try to get to every Super Bowl. Doesn't matter who's playing, which kind of just, I don't know. I don't know that I would do that. Do you know anybody that does that, Joe? That just looks to go. Because I'm about to show what you could have in Bitcoin if you bought Bitcoin instead of Super Bowl tickets. I know a couple of people who go to, like, I don't know that they've missed the Super Bowl that I'm aware of. They pay that money and they go all the time. Doesn't matter who's playing. Doesn't even matter. Do you know anybody like that?
No. I wish I did, though. Like,
yeah, hey, take me with you.
Take me along. Yeah. That means you got money. Either that or you act like you got money. So yeah.
Well, that could be it. There you go. All right. Well, let's bring this up. So I came across this and I thought, all right, this is perfect with the Super Bowl being yesterday. If you invested in Bitcoin instead of buying Super Bowl tickets each year since 2012, here's how much money you'd have today. That's the and again, links to everything that I'm showing you is in the description. So let's scroll down and we'll just kind of cut to the chase and scroll down here. And I'm sorry, I don't know why it's kind of cutting off part of this, so we're going to have to take it a little bit at a time. But basically, they broke it into a spreadsheet, and they're telling you that was taking everything at the time they wrote this Bitcoin price of 95K, basically. Okay, so 2012 at a Super Bowl ticket price, and I'm not going to go through all of these, but $1,200. Bitcoin price at the time, $5.18. Wow. Imagine if you had $5 Bitcoin. Just saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Look at the value today alone. Look at that. That is insane. Insane. And they break it down for every year. So I'm just going to kind of scroll through here and bring it to the bottom. And right here. So buying Super Bowl tickets the last 14 seasons would have cost you $57,760. That is a bit insane to me, but now if you had invested that amount in Bitcoin, you could have generated a sizable return. And here we go. 314 Bitcoin, over 314 Bitcoin, and the investment of $57,760 would now be 30 million 100, right? Is that million? Billion. 30 billion 161 million $220,000. No. Wow. Don't listen to me.
30 million. I'm like,
30 billion 161 million $220.26. Finally got it right. Good Lord. But can you imagine? I can't even wrap my head around that. Can't even wrap my head around that. That is insane.
It's just like knowing Bitcoin back in the day and having $100 and buying it for pennies. Like, you know what? I'll do this. And let's just say you lose your wallet, or not lose, but you forget your wallet. You forget that you have it. Then 5-10 years later, you're like, wait a minute, I had Bitcoin. Where is it? Yeah. And thank God I didn't, throw away my computer or wherever you were mining it or whatever. And then you find it, and then you're like, holy moly, I have $4 million.
Cha-ching.
Yeah.
Cha-ching. We're going to wrap it up. Joe, I know you might need to head out to get everything set up on your stream because there's only like about 2 minutes left before you're supposed to be starting there. Anything you want to throw out before you head out of here?
Just that make sure to watch out for my channel. Make sure to have that notification bell on because I go live every single day and multiple times a day. And then I'm actually starting to do 12 a.m. That's right, 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time several times a week. So make sure the notification bell's on. And I'm not sure what time it is your time, but it's time for me to skadoot and be on my channel. So I do thank you guys very much. If you haven't already, definitely smash the like. Share out the video, share this to a friend, and we'll see you on the next one. Well, we'll see you in a few minutes.
Yeah, we'll see you in a few minutes there, bud. Thank you, Joe. Right. Appreciate you being here, man. All right. Let's wrap this puppy up, and then we're gonna, like I said, you don't even have to do anything. Just hang tight. We'll go straight over and raid Joe's live stream. Just to give you a breakdown of the rest of this week here. We're going to be tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Matrix Money Podcast. We're going to be talking with Daniel Diaz, Executive Director, Citizens for Sound Money. We're going to be talking gold. We're going to be talking sound money. I can't wait to hear his perspective on everything going on with Doge and everything going on with the executive orders, the tariffs, the whole 9 yards. I'm looking forward to that. So make sure you're here tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Time for that. And I'm going to be dropping a couple of other videos this week. Hopefully the tangent video this week, hopefully. And last but not least, don't forget Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Crypto on the Rocks. All right. I appreciate everybody that's been in the chat. Appreciate everybody that came over here. And yes, moon soon. Yes, I agree. Automatic Beats. And thank you, man. You're the best. Appreciate that. All right, everybody, just hang tight. YouTube's going to take you straight over to Joe. When you get there, type it in CCM Raid. All right, we're out. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next Monday.